Welcome to Jam Session Chronicles. My name is Will Fortune, saxophonist here. I am extremely excited. I have my good friend who I've known for many years, who I've respected just since we were kids. I mean, he's been an amazing talent. He's played with everybody, and I just can't wait to talk to him. I'm sure that you will be blessed by the information he's going to disseminate today. He's been a trombone player. He's played in the Lincoln Jazz Orchestra with Marcellus. He's played with Betty Carter, and the list goes on and on. My good friend now is Andre Hayward. Andre, how you doing, man?
Will, how you doing, man? Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm just so happy that you decided to come in and be with us.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
Well, listen, I know some of the stuff I already know, but I'm going to ask you anyway for the listening people and for my channel to know who you are.
Yeah.
Where were you born? Where are you from?
Well, I am from Houston, Texas.
From Houston,
I'm
Texas?
a Houston native and grew up here, right in this area. Acres home.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what school did you go to?
Well, we went to several schools. We moved around a lot as a family. I guess if you wanted to ask about elementary school and all those things.
That's fine.
Evelyn Thompson was
Okay.
one of the first elementary schools.
Okay.
And then
I knew Thompson Elementary. Okay.
then we moved in the Cashmere Gardens area.
Gotcha.
Also went to Betsy Ross
Okay.
Elementary. Then we went to Tidwell Elementary. Small stint at Kirby. I did 1 year at Kirby.
Okay.
And
Who was the band that we used at Kirby?
Mr. Maxey.
Okay.
Did you know Mr. Maxey?
I remember Maxey. Yes, I did.
You know, and at that time I didn't join the band. Although I was curious about the trombone during that time.
Okay.
But I didn't have the courage to ask my mom to get a horn.
Now, what made you interested in the trombone? I mean, you've taken it to a whole other level. What made you interested in
the slide? Just the mysterioso of the slide.
Really?
And how do you make music with a slide?
Wow.
You know, because I noticed saxophone has keys, and trumpet has valves. You know, you got fixed pitches there that you
Gotcha.
Fingerings.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that was really what struck, and just the mere size of the instrument.
Really?
Really intrigued.
Now, when in our lives as musicians, there's a pivotal moment where we just take this thing seriously. Mm-hmm. What was your moment when you say, you know what, I'm gonna really take this thing seriously and do it? When you first got it, I mean, or when you, because like me, when I got my saxophone, I played, but I went to play at church one time. My father's a pastor.
Oh yeah.
And when I played one time in church, played Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
And when I played Amazing Grace, I got that response. And I'm like, I'm taking this thing seriously.
I think our musical lives are mirrored. Because I grew up in a family of gospel musicians, ministers,
Exactly.
and I remember, me and my sister were in a band together. Mm-hmm. Chantel joined the band after my 7th grade year, mm-hmm. and so she played clarinet. So we would go and play hymns at the church. Okay. And like you said, that response from
people,
from the congregation,
that affirmation.
Yeah, and it just gives you that extra push, extra boost to keep going. But I gotta say, I didn't really start getting serious about trombone until I got to my high school years. Okay. And the motivation was all state, all region band. Wow. Okay. And at that time I was learning all the orchestral material, standard material for trombone. Gotcha. And that was, and then in fact I did a year and a half at HSPVA. Gotcha. Okay. And
I know
that's
very good.
That's a very good.
Was
record.
Anybody there that's notable that was there when you were there?
Chris Dave.
Okay.
Chris Dave. Great Chris Dave was there. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anybody else you may have known. LaRon Land.
Yes, LaRon Land. Yeah, LaRon and Chris was kind of there together.
Yeah, they were kind of neck and neck.
They were friends.
Yeah, and Stephanie Sanders, bassoonist. Yeah. Okay. She's at Norfolk State now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there were a lot of great people there.
Oh wow. Let me ask you this. Now, basically you talked about going to school, and then you took it seriously in high school, mm-hmm. and then how you just, the way you got involved with it, what you liked about it. But what was your first paid gig? Do you remember your first paid gig?
Yeah, my first paid gig was when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
And I had just started playing euphonium in the wind ensemble at PVA. Wow. Okay. So our director, Mr. Lucas, hired us for an Easter program. Okay. And it was a chamber group. Okay. And so I think it was French horn, euphonium, trumpet, trombone, that kind of thing. Wow. Made $100.
Wow. At 13?
Yeah, 13 years old.
Oh, boy.
I'll never forget that.
Oh, boy.
I had a pocket full of money
I'm
the next
talking
day.
about 13. I mean, a lot of Jolly Ranchers and
jelly,
yes,
a lot of tater tots.
now, that was your first paying gig. Let me ask you a question. What is basically, what was the most lucrative point in your career? We have moments where we play $50 gigs, $100 gigs, and then we have moments where we make whatever. What was the most lucrative point of your playing career?
The most lucrative point was when
you're like, wow.
Oh yeah, the wow moment was when I joined Jazz Lincoln Center Orchestra,
Okay.
1999.
I can imagine.
I had already been a year into living in Boston.
Gotcha.
And at that time, I had played with Illinois Jacquette's big band.
Okay.
Prior to that.
Okay.
And we were making decent money.
Okay.
But Illinois' gigs were seasonal.
Gotcha.
So we went on the road a lot.
Gotcha.
And finally, I got the call.
The most tour situations.
The most touring situations. Yeah. So I was working a wedding circuit around Massachusetts.
Okay.
And there would be dry spells and stuff. I would have to do odd jobs.
I know.
And I think I had just gotten to that point where I was getting frustrated.
Gotcha.
And got a phone call from the lead trombonist, Ron Westrate.
Okay.
And saying the third chair is open.
Wow.
Do you want to join the band? And that was fall of '99.
Wow.
And I was so excited. I was like, yes, of course.
How long
I want to
were you
join
with
this.
them?
7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, fall of '99 to summer of '06.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
So you hung around winning quite a bit then.
Yeah, I was around and went a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, so the band really did well. They paid very well, I'm sure.
That first check was a surprise.
Really?
Yeah. After I got the call, I got a FedEx from Jazz Lincoln Center with music and a check.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
Here we are. Let's go. Let's go, right?
Here we go. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
which is that's the wonderful thing. I mean, Jazz Lincoln Center is a major situation. I
Yeah.
mean, Wynton has done great things. That a lot of work down there in New York.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I mean, he's one of the most premier trumpeters in this world.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You really can't mess with him. He's a bad boy.
Yes, he is.
Now let me ask you a question. What was your biggest influence? I mean, I know we have a lot of people we pull from, and I know me as a saxophone player, I pull from. That's your home.
That's my phone. I thought I turned
We'll
it off.
edit it.
Sorry.
That's okay. We basically pull from, I pull from piano players, and as a saxophone player, I try to pull from a vocalist. Because our thing is, I've heard people say, it's okay to play all the technical stuff, but you got to be able to sing.
Oh, yeah,
right?
sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
learning that.
Yeah.
That's a constant learning process for myself, is learning how to sing. Because
Yeah.
my influence is, Charlie Parker, Joe Albright's, Cannonball Adderley. They're very technical, but I'm learning now the more Ornette Cobb, Kirk Whalum's, because he sings, man.
They all sing.
And So what was your biggest influence? I know we learned, and I'm asking you a loaded question.
To be honest with you,
but you can trim it down.
actually, I was telling before that I grew up in a family of gospel musicians. So my dad played organ and piano in my uncle's church, Jasper Hayward,
Gotcha.
Greater Community Baptist.
Okay.
And my aunts and uncles all sang there, so they had a group called the Hayward Singers.
Okay.
So they used to travel around to the churches.
Okay.
And I used to be excited about that. I looked at them as celebrities, and they did a few records, a few 78s.
Okay.
And they would travel and sell these records and things. So hearing them sing, I got to say that was my foundation.
That was your foundation.
Yeah, that was my foundation. My mom was a great singer too. She was
Okay.
a beautiful singer.
Yeah.
And then we had cousins that sang,
Gotcha.
that sang beautifully, and they all played organ and
So
piano
that kind
in
of
the
was
church.
your influence. Your environment was kind of
the church. The church was
same
that,
here.
Same.
And I hear a lot of that soul in your playing too.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
what it is. It could be bop. You still up with that soul.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And I gotta say, Kurt Whalum.
Yeah, almost
I
definitely.
wore this tape out. It was maybe one of Kirk's early records.
Okay. I like to hear For All We Know. He kills.
For All
man.
We Know, but gosh, that cassette, the name of that cassette escapes me right now, but it's a picture of him in the front. He's kind of posed.
He got so many like that.
There's so many records like that,
But I mean,
anyway.
just his influence. I mean,
Yeah.
you just say his name. I mean,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
But I was always attracted to those kind of instrumentalist musicians that had a singing quality about
Yes,
them.
yes.
And I'm still that way myself.
And I'm learning. I'm still working on that. I mean, because you come in with the whole giant steps and the whole stuff, and it's like, okay, but now I want to be able to trim this down and how to make this musical and melodic.
But I remember because I was just mentioning on Facebook how we used to practice over the phone.
Yes, we did.
During our high school years.
We did.
And you always had this singing quality.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I tried.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
because you did vibrato.
Well,
Yeah.
Bernard Johnson was my influence.
Oh, yeah.
That's the church.
Yeah.
That was back in the day, though.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my influence.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. What musician that you could say that was somebody who had impacted you so much that you had a conversation with? I mean, like, just to give you an example, I asked Kirk Whalum what was his. Of course, Ornette Cobb was his.
Yeah.
Who he spent a lot of quality time with, who he had one-on-one conversation with.
Yeah.
Who would you say would be the musician that really impacted you, that you had a conversation with, and their wisdom was just, and I know you have so many, because You've been on the road for a long time.
You know, it's hard for me to pinpoint one. That's because it's been several.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's why I said it's a loaded question.
Roy Hargrove was a big hero.
Oh,
you
man.
know, and another one that played in the singing style. Because I remember hearing him, but prior to meeting him and playing with him.
Okay.
I was at TSU at the time, and I heard a Bobby Watson record. And Roy may have been 17 on this record.
Okay.
Frank Lacey on the record too.
Yes.
And that was the first time I had ever heard a trumpet player phrase in what I consider like the gospel style.
Yes.
And that really touched me. And
Roy, man.
Yeah, months later, TSU Jazz Ensemble went to Dallas, and they invited Roy's quintet to perform at this collegiate high school jazz festival.
Okay.
And so we went to hear Roy's band play, and Antonio Hart was in the band. Mark Carey, Rodney Whitaker.
Antonio Hart band.
Yeah. Who else was in the band? There was a quintet.
Yeah.
But anyway, after hearing that, I was able to meet Roy, and we talked a little bit. Couldn't get much out of Roy at the time because he was kind of distracted.
Gotcha.
But hours later, a bunch of musicians met in the lobby to start jamming.
Gotcha.
And so I went and got my horn and joined, and we were going from tune to tune and get done with a solo, and Roy's standing next to me and giving me all kind of praise and compliments and asking for my contact.
Okay.
And he said, I will call you for a gig.
Yeah.
I said, man, that's not going to happen. I'm 19 years old,
Yeah.
still trying to get it together.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, 2 months after that festival, my sister gives me a message from Roy's manager, Larry Collier. He wants you to come to Spain.
Wow.
Madrid, Spain.
What?
So that was my first major gig.
Wow.
That was 1992.
Wow.
So Roy invited me, and as a matter of fact, there was a tenor player, which you may know, Keith Loftus.
Yes.
From Dallas.
Yes.
So he invited Keith Loftus,
play too.
Trumpet player Whitney Russell.
Okay.
And he featured us as with his rhythm section as the Young Lions of Texas.
Wow.
So that was
amazing.
That was my first gig.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. I know we have a lot of good experiences. We talked about the Lincoln Jazz thing. That was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
It was very lucrative. And of course, you got a chance to see the world.
Right.
And you got a chance to play and meet some amazing musicians. But can you give me what are one of your worst experiences that you want to share? Because this life, we have it's very positive, but we have times where it's just not that great. What was one of your have you ever been in a situation where you had a gig that was it was a horrible gig, or maybe you got stranded, and I mean that's been shared by.
Well, I wouldn't call this horrible, but I call it more humorous than anything.
Okay.
I'm in Europe doing a tour with Roy.
Okay.
And I think we were touring Nice, France, and Antwerp, Belgium.
Okay.
So there was great times up there, and we were just getting back to the States.
Gotcha.
And I was expressing how much I wanted to be in New York.
Okay.
So the guys were kind of egging me on. Yeah, man, you get to New York, you can stay with me, and you can crash at the crib for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So we finally get back to the States in Newark Airport.
Okay.
And we get to baggage claim, and you guys take off.
Oh wow!
They took off.
You in where are you now?
I'm in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I got thankfully we had gotten paid. So I took a cab and tried to call Roy on. This was when payphones were around.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't get anybody.
Wow.
And somebody suggested that I go to Larry Clothier's Dale Fitzgerald's studio in the Village and just go hang out, kill some time until I can get in touch with Roy.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get in touch with him. Greg said he was already crowded. Mark Carey had a family. Rodney Whitaker was from Detroit, so there was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had met trumpet player Ryan Kaiser in Europe.
Okay.
And we became fast friends. And so I had his number, and I called Ryan. I said, Ryan, man, I'm in New York, and Roy said that he would let me crash at the place, but I hadn't been able to get in touch with him.
Wow.
And so Ryan said, man, come on over. Ryan already had 3 roommates.
Wow.
So I stayed at his place for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. He looked out for me.
2 months, he looked out for you.
Looked out for me.
That's
and we're still longtime friends, and we were colleagues with the Jazz Lincoln Center Orchestra. Too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I mean, that is kind of humorous.
Yeah.
They just burn off.
That was funny. They just burn off.
You get the baggage claim and say,
oh, yeah, I'm scared to death. I'm calling my mom. Hey, Mom, I'm in New York. I'm thinking about staying up here. And,
wow.
And I called my family, and they were all worried.
Man. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I've been there for it from home, and
Yeah.
you know, in the payphone out there. Sure, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Well, let me ask you this, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. What is? I don't want to keep you too long. What is your advice you have for younger musicians? I mean, I know that there are a lot of young people look up. Like right now, we're becoming what we used to look up to now.
Oh yeah.
So, what advice do you have for the younger musicians?
Well, the first thing is to stay devoted to your instrument.
Yes.
The fundamentals of fundamental musical principles, technique associated with the instrument. Yes. Keep your eyes sharp, because you never know. When I say that, I'm speaking about sight reading, because you never know what situations you're going to be in. Yes. You know, we choose jazz as our main source of creativity or expression, mode of expression, but there's many other jobs that you can get out there. Broadway shows, yes. Wedding bands, yes. We still do them. Yes. So stay up on your reading. Learn something about business, sales, marketing, and promotion. Yes. That is so important, because it's one thing to be able to play, and it's another thing to be able to put yourself out there.
That's right. That's right. Amen. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Yeah. What is next for you? Is there anything coming up big? I mean, I know we're all working and gigging. The pandemic kind of slowed a lot of stuff down. So we're trying to get back into it.
And you know, I think the pandemic has brought a lot of perspective to all of us. It has a lot of focus. And
yes, it has.
You know, prior to that, I was touring a lot.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, the pandemic has really slowed a lot of things down.
Gotcha.
As I get older, and you know, and because we're dealing with this pandemic, I'm really just enjoying being at home.
I understand. This was birthed from that.
Yeah, this was just birthed from that.
Yeah.
So if I get a call to go out there, yes, yeah. I'll be fine with that. But
of course.
Been comfortable just being able to get myself together as a musician, as a business person at home.
Exactly.
So really enjoying it.
And really getting focused on that marketing.
On the marketing piece.
And so you got like a little studio or something.
I got a little studio set up. Yeah. So when I saw this, I got excited.
Exactly. Okay, let me ask you a question. How can people get in touch with you? I know that social media.
Well, I do have a mailing list that you can join, and that's at Andre Hayward Music. That's AndreHayward music.com. Mm-hmm. And I'm also on most of the social media platforms. Facebook, of course, Andre Hayward. And you can find me on Instagram.
Okay, now, Hayward, how you spell your last name?
Hayward.
There you go, okay. I spelled it Haywoo.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Hayward, okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming, man.
It's been an honor, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much.